What is up, guys? Smooth here, back with another Minecraft video, and today we're going to be looking at the Terraria mod. Now, this is going to be one of the largest mods I've ever reviewed. It has over 300 new blocks and objects, and I'm going to review every single one of them. So I hope you guys stay strapped in because this might be a long one. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Terraria, the best way to probably describe it to a Minecraft user is it's essentially a 2D version of the game with a lot more features. It has a lot of bosses, it has a lot of weapons, and it just generally has a lot more to do. So I'm going to show you some of the biomes to start things off. So this adds 8 new biomes if I'm not mistaken, and we have a handful of them over here. Now this mod showcase in itself is kind of unusual in that I had to build this big platform just so it didn't get corrupted, so to speak. So if you look at all these light blue blocks over here, these actually used to be regular grass blocks, like vanilla Minecraft blocks, but it actually kind of spreads in a certain way. So like if you see right over here where this light blue meets the grass over here, this is actually where it will start spreading. And again, it's almost like viral in the way that it encroaches on it. I don't know if you saw right over there, it started to get a little bit further. Yeah, and you can see it over here. Basically, if I did the mod showcase on the ground, the entire world would turn into Terraria, and some of my mod showcase would probably convert into this as well if I was using regular blocks. So let's look into some of the biomes that we have over here. So I'm going to press F3 so you can see in the top left corner we're currently in just a regular plains biome, even though it does look like we are in a certain Terraria biome. Terraria biomes are slightly different. So as I go over here, it's going to look like a regular jungle biome. So let me just go right here, and you'll see I'm now in a regular jungle biome. But if I go into this corner right here, it's a very, very small Terraria jungle biome, and you can tell because of the blocks on the bottom. These are jungle grass blocks, and they allow certain types of fauna to be grown on them, but I'll show you guys a little bit more about that in detail later. But if we go right over here, we now get into the crimson biome, and you'll notice immediately that as soon as I cross that border, the sky will change color. Some other biomes will also cause the water to change color. I'm not noticing it over here, but you'll notice it in some other biomes as well. So when we get into the Terraria desert biome, again, it has the same effect. You'll see the sky turns kind of yellow. Let me just go back in over here, and let's see, where does it end? Right there. You'll see again the sky changes color. So let's go into this light blue area over here. But first, I think we're actually going to see the snow biome. Oh, that's not it over here. This should be very close by. And this is where a whole bunch of them intersect. Okay, yeah, here we are in the Hallow biome. And that's where you have all these funky trees going on. And it's a really, really cool looking biome in general. Doesn't have too much going on to it. This is a very small subsection. And then finally, we go over here and we have the snow biome. Kind of strange how the snow biome and the desert biome intersect, but you guys get the gist. So let me teleport to some of the other biomes because there are some that we did not get to see it. So first, let's go to the purity biome. So I'm going to just type in the coordinates. So, whoops. This is the older version of Minecraft. This is 1.6.4, so I have to type this in a little bit differently. So minus 524, 90, 156. Let's wait for it to load up. All right, and here we have the purity biome. And it basically looks like a forest biome, but it just looks, I wanted to say, just a lot prettier. So it's like a lot greener, has a couple different things going on, and it does have like some slime, some certain mobs that are exclusive to it. And you also have these mushrooms here, which you can eat. But again, I'll go over those a little bit later. And if we go into this biome over here, you'll see that I'm now in the corruption biome. This one has, again, a really cool look. The sky turns kind of purple, and this one actually does convert the water. You'll see that here it has just straight up full purple pools of water, and where it excuse me, where it intersects with the river biome, it actually turns purple as well. And it has this really cool effect if you kind of go along walking through it. Definitely something that's very cool. And then finally, I want to also show you the Meteorite. This is actually just strictly done with world generation, but the mod creator said that he actually intended it being kind of a random event the way it would occur in Terraria. So let me just teleport over there. So let's go /TP minus 749 70 230. And I'm standing right over here. This is what a meteor looks like. So basically when this happens in Terraria, something comes crashing from the sky and you'll get a bunch of these blocks. And over here you just get these meteorite blocks, which can be used to craft certain things, and it has this cool little sound when you break a block. Definitely like it a lot. But now that you saw all of the biomes, let's get back into the mod showcase. Alright, so here we are. Now, again, we have a lot to look over, but I'm going to first start off with the crafting blocks. So you have a couple different things that you can use to craft items with. You have the furnace, the Hellforge, Adamantite Forge, a workbench, an iron anvil, a Mythril anvil, and demon altar. So I'm not going to go over all the crafting recipes, but I will show you the basics of how to use all these. So if you start using some of the furnaces or the forges, for example, they're used to take ores and turn them into bars. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take something called Chlorophyte ore. Chlorophyte is one of the strongest items in the game. So if we go over here, you can just grab it and I could just scatter them about. You only need the right number of items. So it's just 6 Chlorophyte ore and you will then get a Chlorophyte bar. And it's not easy to actually find the recipe for all these things. So what I recommend you do is actually look up Terraria crafting recipes from the actual game. And a lot of these are very, very faithful to how the actual Terraria game does things, or at least as far as I know. So let's go and grab a bunch of Chlorophyte bars and we'll go to the Mythril anvil. Now again, since this is a higher tier metal, it's going to require to use a higher tier anvil. So iron anvil would be used for lower tier things. So the way to craft a plate body is very similar to how you do it in Minecraft, but just on a much bigger scale. So just like that, right here and right there. And just like that, we have a Chlorophyte plate mail. So again, let's just put those away and move on to the next section. You have these wooden table and chairs. Now in Terraria, you can actually use a wooden table to craft things when you have a chair near it. But at the moment, you can see if I right click on it, or, well, whoops. And if I left click on it, I just break it because I'm creative. But if you left click on it, I think a future version of this would have been intended to have that function the same way as these workbenches over here. And you'll notice that they basically all have the same little format. It's just this 5x5 little square. All right, next up we have a pot and a crystal heart. Now both of these are actually placeable objects, but they can be used to basically break them open. So I'm going to go actually into survival mode. So let's go like that, and I'll break these and show you what happens. So let's crack this open. And when you break it, you do get some random items. So in this particular case, I got silver coins, a copper coin, sorry, 1 silver coin, 2 copper coins, and some torches. Now let's open up this heart over here. This one takes a little bit more. Any second now, almost there. Breaking hearts isn't easy, guys. So when you break it, you'll get a life crystal. And a life crystal is a consumable item. And when you right click on it, you will eat it and you'll get 2 more hearts. You do have a limit on how many hearts you can have. I believe it's 4 full rows of hearts. So it comes down to 40 hearts. Pretty cool item, and it's definitely useful because some of the bosses and mobs in this game are incredibly strong and you will get beaten very quickly even with a lot of hearts. Next up we have a golden chest, and I put a regular chest here just so you can compare. If you look at a regular chest, you'll see that it has 9 columns and 3 rows across, but if you look at a gold chest, this one has 9 columns and 5 rows. Whoops, 9, well, you guys get it, 9 by 5. And also there's something that's a little bit different in the way these function. If you, well, besides the fact that it's not closing because I have this here maybe, that's really weird. Is that like a glitch that I just discovered? Oh well, not a big deal. But if you place 2 of these together, you'll notice that they don't connect. And this is normally kind of a problem with regular chests where if you put too many of them next to each other, you have to use a trap chest because you won't be able to put 3 in a row otherwise. But you'll see that you can basically place these any way that you like. But let me just quickly go back into creative mode and get rid of these so we can start getting to some of the juicy stuff. There we go. Now next up we have wood platforms. So the way wood platforms work in Terraria is that since it's a 2D based game, these would basically be hung up on a wall so you could use them to jump. Now these are a little bit glitchy in the mod, so you'll notice that if I go on them, it actually just, I walk right through them. I can even walk through this one right here. So yeah, let me just step aside from it a second. Yeah, it basically, you go right through them, but when you jump on them, it still doesn't work. So how do they actually function? If you press shift while inside of a block, you basically pop up right through it. It's like a super ladder, but if you hold shift, you can hop on it. So I made this kind of over here to show you how it actually does function as a super ladder. So I'm going to just press shift, and I just kind of fly up really quickly, and as I'm holding shift, I bounce. But if I was to let go, I completely fall through. So I don't think these were fully coded yet, but since I made it this way, they still are pretty useful. Like I can go up like this and then just hop onto this block when everything's said and done. All right, so next up we have torches. All these torches are pretty much the same. They just basically have different colors and they do emit a certain amount of light. So let me do time set night so you guys can take a look at that. Actually made it That was interesting. It actually made it brighter by setting it to night, but I guess it's because it's about to be sundown. But let me go, let's see, time set 18,000. There we go. It's much darker. And if I back off away from it a little bit, you can see the amount of light that's being emitted from it. And also we have another light source here, which I'll talk about a little bit more, and that's the glowing mushroom. Now, I think this was also not coded properly in that the actual mushroom block is what emits light and not the actual mushroom. A little bit strange, but not really a big deal. All right, next up we have coins. So there are 4 different kinds of coins. You have gold coins, platinum coins, silver coins, and copper coins. These are currently not functional in the mod, but basically they would be used, as they are in Terraria, to trade with NPCs and potentially other players as well. Next up we have bars. These are basically all the different types of bars. I'm going to explain to you the different tiers in some detail later on, but these are basically the gist of what you'll be looking at. And then finally we have gems and ores. Here are the different types of gems. So you have an obsidian chunk, which I wasn't sure where to put it, so I figured this would probably be the most appropriate place. You have topaz, ruby, sapphire, amethyst, diamond, and emerald. These are to be used for future crafting recipes, but they don't really serve any purpose here at the moment. And again, you have the same ores that we saw earlier into bars. All right, so now let's look at all the ore varieties and which ones are the best. So we'll start off over here. You have copper, then iron, silver, gold, meteorite, demonite, crimtane, hellstone, cobalt ore. Cobalt ore. It's also worth noting that when I was doing this mod, this one is labeled as Mythril as well as this one. So I'm definitely sure this was meant to be cobalt, but again, if I was to break this block and put it in my inventory, it would say Mythril. And after that, we have Mythril, Adamantite, and then Chlorophyte. With the gemstones, it starts off as amethyst, topaz, sapphire, emerald, ruby, and diamond. So that's the gist of all of those. And I'll actually get to the weapons before I get to showing you all these blocks. So let's go over here. Let's take a look at the pickaxes, for example. So I'm basically just showing you all the tiers of items based on the ores. So if you look at the pickaxes, you'll notice that it says how much their pickaxe power is. So this one has 35%, and they go as high as 200%. There's actually a pickaxe axe, which is very unique. But actually, I'm going to show some of these items to you because they look really cool. So let's take these out. Let me put these away over here, and let me just get into F5. So this is what a Chlorophyte pickaxe looks like. This is what an Adamantite pickaxe looks like. A pickaxe axe looks like. A Mythril pickaxe, and a Cobalt pickaxe. They all look really cool. I like the textures quite a bit, and you can mine pretty quickly with them. Alright, next up we have regular axes. So we again have the pickaxe axe and all the other tiers as well. These also look very cool, so let me take out some of these since they have these really, really cool textures. That one. Alright, cool. So let's take a look once again. So let's start off with this one, and you can see the Adamantite war axe is massive. It's literally the size of my character, basically. Next up we have the Mythril war axe, followed by the Bloodlust cluster. Did I say that right? Bloodlust cluster, correct? And the Chlorophyte great axe. These all look really, really cool, and when you swing them, it looks even cooler. Alrighty, so let's put these back away and move on to the swords. So the swords are a little bit odd in one sense. You have like for example, you have short swords and then you have broadswords. They left a regular wooden sword in here. That's actually a Terraria only. It's only for the Terraria mod, but they left in the regular Minecraft one as well. So this one actually has +4 attack damage, and this one has +9. So none of these are too spectacular. They do a decent amount of damage, but if you go down over here, they have some of the cooler ones. So you have Lightsbane, Blood Butcherer, Cobalt, Fiery, Greatsword, Mythril Sword, Adamantite Sword, Excalibur, and Chlorophyte Claymore. These are all really cool, and some of them are massive. So I'll show you. Let me start off with, I guess I'll start off with the little guy, Lightsbane. So Lightsbane kind of just looks like a small pointy sword. This is the Blood Butcher. It has like that cool little blood looking effect to it. Cobalt Sword, just kind of like a straight looking long sword. Fiery Greatsword looks really epic. Mythril Sword doesn't look too fancy. The Adamantite Sword looks crazy. Excalibur, again, this one is huge. It's ridiculous. And finally, the Chlorophyte Claymore. This is such an OP weapon. I think it does, like, I think it was 64 damage if I'm not mistaken. And also just looks awesome in your hand. Like, I mean, how cool is having an item this big? All right, so let's put all these away and move along. All right, next up we have phase blades. So phase blades are basically, I mean, basically they're just lightsabers. So you have a couple different kinds. They do a decent amount of attack damage, And there's nothing really different between all of them. They're just basically different colors, but they're a pretty cool weapon. They haven't integrated in the mod as far as how to get these, but I do think some of the mobs occasionally drop them, specifically the bosses. Alright, let's go to hammers. Now, hammers have a certain function in Terraria where you can like break down walls with them and whatnot, but in the mod currently, they don't have any real function. So you have the same tier of stuff, but I'll just show you how they all look. So let's get into F5 mode once again. And here is the Flesh Grinder, the Meteorite Hamaxe, the Molten Hamaxe. Now, they're called a Hamaxe because they function as a hammer and an axe. The Pone Hammer, and the Chlorophyte Warhammer. Chlorophyte items look really good in this game. In this mod, rather. Alright, let's put these away. Next up, we have bows, shot bows, and repeaters. These are basically all different forms of ranged weapons. Now, these are actually a little bit faster than... Actually, I'll show this one because this one looks really cool. These are actually a little bit faster at shooting than regular bows would in vanilla Minecraft. So if you'll see if I just press it, one little click, and you don't have to actually pull back on anything. So it's pretty cool. It's potentially overpowered, but with how strong the weapons are, it's probably somewhat fair. And then if you go over here and you look at the repeaters, they're basically just the same thing, except they just do a lot more damage. I think these are supposed to basically be shot bows. I'm not sure what they call them repeaters. I'll show you this. So this one is called a shot bow. These are called repeaters. So I think that was meant to be changed. Again, I'm not sure how it goes in Terraria, but just going by with what I see in the mod. So same thing. I think this one has a slightly faster firing rate as well. All right, let's put these guys away. And by the way, they also all use the same arrows. So all of these function with this specific arrow. All right, next up we have the armor. All right, so you have a whole ton of different armor and they all look really cool. And these are basically the regular tiers of armor that I showed you before. And then you have some funky ones over here. So I'll show you some of the cooler looking ones. So let's look at the Adamantite, the Chlorophyte, and let's look at maybe the... Actually, I'll show you a couple more. The Hallowed Mask and stuff. So these are basically the really cool ones. And I also put these in the order of how strong they are. Bottom was listed in this order, and this was listed in its own order as well. So first, let's put on... Let's see. Let's go into our inventory. Let's put these on. All right, so this is the Shadow set. Looks pretty cool. Look like a purple little warrior from Tron. All right, so let's switch it up. Let's put these away, and let's try on the Chlorophyte arm. All right, I kind of look like a beetle. Looks pretty interesting. I'm actually not too crazy about that. With how cool all the other Chlorophyte stuff look, that looks almost mediocre in comparison. This one looks really cool. This one looks like RuneScape armor with like a twist. It looks kind of like Guthan's. All right, let's put this away, and let's put on the Hallowed armor set. This one looks really cool as well. I think this one is pretty well designed. And let's take those off and finally look at the Adamantite set. This looks pretty cool too. Looks like dragon armor. All right, so let's put all these guys away. Let's clean up this inventory because lots and lots and lots of more stuff to look at. All right, now let's look at some of these blocks over here. So I found a really strange glitch when I was looking at these blocks. So these are all specifically brick varieties. So if you go over here, you'll notice that the actual main brick block is completely normal. But when you look at the brick stair and the brick slab, they have this weird shading glitch where every single one of them has this, yeah, just like it looks like it's in the dark when it's not supposed to be. Kind of strange, but the blocks themselves look very cool. I like the Cobalt brick one a lot, and as well as these two, the Ice brick and the Snow brick, have a very nice look to them. And they also have their own stone brick stairs and wood stairs. And they have the same glitch, which is really odd. If you look at regular vanilla Minecraft ones, they don't have that same problem. So I guess the mod creator was working on this at some point. All right, so let's see. Let's go on to these blocks over here. All right, so these are just miscellaneous blocks. I just kind of lined them up for you all to see. I like the ice blocks quite a bit. You have the purple, red, and regular ice block over here. Pearl sand block, crimson block, ebon sand block, pearl stone block, crimstone block, ebon stone block, stone, snow, sand, glass block. I like this texture quite a bit actually. And then you have some of the dirt varieties. You have a mud block, dirt. This was actually supposed to be regular dirt, but I guess this one converted it. Hollowed grass, jungle, mushroom grass, regular grass, which also got converted from corrupted grass, and cobwebs. Now, the same thing that I showed you at the beginning of the video where regular blocks can be converted by these. I put some stuff in the back over here to demonstrate. So I'm going to take a Terraria sand block and a vanilla sand block. So let's place a couple of these down. Let's just make it, let's do that amount. Just like that. And I'm going to place one Terraria sand block, and I want you guys to watch what happens. It's actually pretty cool. And it converts almost all of it instantly. This one will convert eventually. But that's why I had to make this whole showcase in the sky, because otherwise things would start converting very quickly. So if we go over here, you have regular dirt block and vanilla dirt. Terraria dirt versus vanilla dirt, rather. So let's put some of these over here. And let's put these right here and see how long this takes. Let me put some on both sides, because this one isn't as fast. And while we're waiting for that, let's actually go and do this section as well. Let's put these away. And I'm going to show you how regular grass converts into all of these. See if any of it changed yet. Yeah, a couple changed over here. You could see just like that. Let's get rid of these and make some more space. All right, so let's put down some regular grass over here. And I'm going to place I'm going to alternate these. So I'll do this one here, and you can see this one, I think that's the corrupted one. No, the hollowed one. That one converted it really fast. Let's get to this one, the crimson grass. Oh, I did that one already. The mushroom grass and the regular grass. But you'll notice that, again, this can convert things very quickly. So if you go in with like a regular vanilla world, it will start converting like this. And it's kind of a slow process, but if you're in your world for a while, like all this converted from a regular plane while I was setting up the showcase, things can get pretty crazy. And you'll see almost all the blocks converted. This one looks like it converts things the fastest. Not as fast as sand, but pretty fast. So let's get rid of all this stuff over here and move along to some more stuff right here. All right. So here we have a couple different other varieties. So these are the types of wood. Now wood, the actual, like the tree block itself has to be on top of certain types of grass. So they won't grow on certain different things. They do convert it similar to a regular block when it's on top. You can't actually place any Terraria wood on top of this. It just won't function. But these blocks are just normal planks over here. Well, regular wood blocks. Here you have the glowing mushroom once again. You can't grow any of these on this one specifically. So let's just go over all of them. You have regular wood, rich mahogany, ebon wood, shade wood, pearl wood, and then you have the Terraria cactus, and then you have a vanilla cactus. And again, these can't be grown on each other. All right, next up we have plants and seeds. So these you actually have to plant them in their specific biome. So I'd have to like go out over there to show you guys how these function, because they won't grow normally over here. But you have moonglow, waterleaf, fire blossom, deathweed, blinkroot, daybloom, and all their respective seeds. And over here you have something that's kind of cool. Acorns can be used to grow trees on any different type of Terraria block. So I can place it here, here. Oops, this one actually doesn't work if I remember. That's the mushroom only block, and right over here. And you can see all the trees are different. So they will look something like those guys over there when they're fully grown out. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so let's move on to some more stuff over here. So we passed the armor. We're now up to miscellaneous wearable items. All right, so some of these are pretty awesome. And these are kind of like end game stuff that you would find in Terraria. So Hermes boots, these, not only do they look cool, they have a really cool effect. So let's take off this armor and put on some Hermes boots. And again, you can instantly see in the top corner, I have like an indicator over there. This basically gives you speed boost 3. So you'll see that I can move very fast now. And it kind of zooms you out as well, the same way that a normal speed boost would. So let's go back into normal mode and look at the next item. Oh, it's almost too fast. Actually, I gotta take these things off. All right, there we go. All right, next up we have demon wings and angel wings. These are some pretty cool looking items. So if I equip them, I gain a pretty cool new ability. They go in your armor slot. So I'm just gonna fly up like this. And then when I go down, I'm gonna double tap my spacebar. You'll notice that I basically glide down. So also when you're doing this, you won't take any fall damage. It's the exact same thing with angel wings. So if I equip them on, just looks a little bit different. These actually have a very, very nice looking texture. If I go down, you'll just float like so. Pretty cool. All right, oops, let's not up to that one yet. Not up to that yet either. All right, so now let's just put the rest of these in my inventory. All right, so let's take off the wings. And let's put on the sunglasses. Now I want you to pay attention to the background of my screen. So as soon as I place these on, everything gets a little bit darker. Now, I'm not really a fan of this. It doesn't really serve a purpose in the mod yet, but it just kind of, you look cool. But when you go into first person mode, it makes everything look kind of just darker. Alright, so let's take those off and move on to the next one. We have an obsidian skull. This one actually gives you fire resistance. So, I really don't need to display this one. You guys can kind of take my word for it, but it does look pretty cool. One of the cooler looking items in the game. Alright, gold crown and diving helmet. I don't know why I keep looking in there. I have all these things in my inventory. Alright, gold crown at the moment is strictly cosmetic, but you can use it to craft this item over here, which I'll show you in a second. It's a slime crown, which is used to spawn the king slime. But at the moment, it just looks like a regular crown. If you just want to feel kind of regal and get your royalty on, you can wear that. And then finally, we have the diving helmet. So let's put this one on. A really bad habit of trying to go back to these things over here. So if I equip it, is it on? Yeah, I have water breathing. And let me go into survival mode. So if we go into survival mode, basically my my air bubbles will never go down. At least I was in water for a pretty long time and I didn't notice it going down to any extent. So if it does go down, it takes quite a while. All right, so let's get out of here. Why can't I get out? Oh, that's why. Game mode 1. And let's set time back to daytime. All right, so let's put these guys away. Whoopsie daisy. There we go. These are all going back over here. All right, next up we have potions. So you have the healing potion, lesser healing potion, and all these really do is they just, again, heal your hearts, nothing too spectacular. This one is pretty cool. It's called water walking. So let's walk over here, and I'm going to drink this potion. And you're going to see I have that corner in the top left. Now I'm just going to walk right over this water over here. So let me go into first person, actually third person, and you'll see just like that, I can walk over water normally. If I press shift, I'll start sinking into it like normal water. If I hop into it, it just becomes like a regular hard block. All right, let's put this one away. Next up, we have Gill's Potion. Gill's Potion is basically the same thing as the breathing helmet. It basically gives you the ability to breathe underwater. And Mushroom. So Mushroom is kind of a strange item. It does heal your hunger, but if you eat it, you'll see that little icon on the top left. It's like 55 seconds at the moment. It says Potion Sickness. So Potion Sickness is something you get from mushrooms and from any healing item. Basically, the way Terraria is balanced is that they don't want you to have too many healing potions in a row because it would be a little bit overpowered. So you have Potion Sickness, which will prevent you from eating another one or drinking another one in the meantime. So let's put that away into the right little spot over there. All right, next up we have miscellaneous items. So these are all a whole bunch of random things that do different stuff, but I'll start off with the whoopee cushion. This one is hilarious. You guys ready for this? I mean, this one is absolutely ridiculous. Basically, every single time you right-click it, it makes a farting whoopee cushion sound. Apparently, this is actually in the Terraria game, so I don't know. It's kind of funny. All right, next up we have the ice rod. So this is a weapon that when you right-click with it, you create these ice blocks. And these are actually temporary. They'll eventually disappear. And you can use them for a couple things, you know, just to like cradle, to like pillar up and stuff like that. Really, really cool. And you can also use to suffocate monsters. Very, very cool effect. Whoa, this tree grew fast. And very large. Did not expect that. All right. All right, so let's put this away. Let's get to, let's take some of these out. Let's take the depth meter, magic mirror. And these are not too important. All right, the depth meter. If you look in the top left corner, it says depth 100 blocks above. So where I'm at right now is exactly 100 blocks in the air. If I fall down, it'll show you how many blocks I'm at. So basically, this just shows you your Y coordinate. So doesn't really serve much of a purpose in Minecraft since you have F3, but it is pretty valuable in Terraria. So the magic mirror will basically just take you back to spawn. So if I click it, it'll take you back to where my bed was, right back over there. And whoa, I'm dizzy. Yeah. But basically, this is a really useful item. I actually would really like this if it had if there was something like this in vanilla Minecraft. Let's put these guys away. You have a regular bottle over here and bottled water. This is basically you could just basically store water in here, and here you can drink it. Just another Terraria version of an empty bucket, water bucket, and lava bucket. Here you have a couple more weapons, so let's take these out. So first up, you have the musket and a musket ball. Musket ball is obviously the ammunition, and it's just a regular ranged weapon with a lot of kickback. Guys, get ready for this. And you also notice that these drop a lot more than arrows. Like the projectile seems like it goes much lower. Now grenades and dynamite are really cool. So this is a grenade. These are basically just made to hit mobs. So let me just throw it at these guys. Yep, there you have it. So they don't actually destroy the ground, but dynamite on the other hand is very destructive. That's actually what happened over here. I was testing it out and then just wait for it. That's a lot of fun. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Let's get a little crazy with it. Really, really good way to go mining. I like the idea of throwable TNT. I just feel like it's a good idea. All right, let's put these guys away. And you have fallen stars, mana crystals, and life crystals. So I showed you what a life crystal does before. It basically gives you health. These two don't really serve a purpose yet. Now, a fallen star, when it falls in Terraria, now correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it can it gives you like a random item or something to that effect. I forget exactly what this does, but at the moment in the mod, it doesn't serve any purpose. And a mana crystal would function similar to the way the heart would before, where you just eat it, it would be consumable, and you would gain more mana. These three items in the corner over here, gel and black and regular lens, are basically just used to craft things. You can't actually use them by themselves. I believe like these, the lenses can be used, for example, to craft like the glasses that you saw before. And gel is used to make torches in Terraria. All right, let's see. Did I go over all this stuff over here? I think I went over pretty much everything. All right, so now we're going to go to the cool part. We're going to get to the mobs. So let me actually gear up first. So I'm going to be gearing up for a very specific reason, because these guys can get really scary and really nasty fast. So let me go into survival mode and show you guys what I'll be up against. All right, so I'm going to eat a bunch of these life crystals. So I'm now at max health. Now I can only hope that I can survive some of these, but some of these are really powerful. I'm not going to actually fight all of them in survival, but you'll see why. So first you have all these different kinds of slimes. So you have a green slime, a blue, a red, a jungle, a corrupt, and an illuminant slime, which correspond to their individual biomes. So let's first get a jungle slime. Oh, I'm in peaceful. Whoops. Let's take care of that. Let's go into easy. Actually, I got to go back into creative to give myself one of those again. So let's jungle slime. There we go. And go back into survival. Game mode 0. There we go. So instantly hit me. It has 58 health. And it drops a couple items over here. So this one dropped a silver coin and some gel. Let's spawn an illuminant slime. This one has 130 health. So you can see, even though my sword is really powerful, it can't be one hit. Whoa. There we go. Next up we have the corrupt slime. This one has 80 health. Let's kill this guy quickly. Again, it all seems in this version of the mod that they all drop the same thing, gel and silver coins. Blue slime has 22 health. This one is one of the weakest, and it's a smaller part of the king slime. All right, the red slime. This one has 34 health. Let's get rid of him really quickly. And finally, the green slime. The weakest of all the slimes. The Minecraft slime. All right, so let's get these guys out of here. And these are basically like the boss ones, but I'll show you these first. So let's get these out of here. All right, first up we have a skeleton. Now this is a Terraria skeleton. So it's actually much stronger than the vanilla Minecraft one, but we can basically one-hit it with our Chlorophyte sword. Looks really, really freaky too. Let's spawn the zombie. Again, much stronger than a vanilla zombie and much faster as well. And he dropped some copper coins. Next up we have a mummy. This guy's pretty strong. He has 65 health, and he basically looks like he has the exact same AI as a zombie. Oh, almost dropped me off. Alrighty. Next up we have a blood crawler. Basically just a retextured and much stronger spider. Alright. Next up is the chaos elemental. Actually, this guy is a real pain. I'm gonna I might have to go down for this one. Whoa! And I did already. Good job, Smooth. Nice work. Actually, well, since I'm down here, you might as well. He actually might kill me, though. Like, this guy is really, really strong. He's a real pain. Whoa. You're not that strong. Let's get rid of these guys. Cool beans. Alright. The Chaos Elemental ready. Let's do it. He has 350 health, and he teleports like an Enderman, and he hits like a truck. I test this out without eating life crystals, and he's one of the main reasons why. Whoa, whoa. Let's see if I can get him. 2 more hits. 2 more hits. Yeah, you can see he took out almost 2 full bars of hearts. Or did he actually? Or was that damage from falling? Oh, no, actually, never mind. But when I had only 1 bar, I'm losing my mind. When I only had 1 bar of hearts, he killed me pretty quickly. And that was even with very good armor on. Next up, we have a unicorn. Now, these guys, even though they look really friendly and they look really... It's a very, actually, attractive model. Would be something very nice to consider in Minecraft to add to some surrealism. Doesn't do a lot of damage with my really OP armor on. Actually, does he do any damage? Yeah, he does about half a heart. Well, let's just get rid of him. There we go. And finally, we have the face monster. This one is really bizarre. It's just like a really long head looking mob. Yeah, just looks kind of just a weird looking thing. All right, now let's get to the bosses. So let's go and fly back up there. Now these I'm actually not going to, I'm not going to be fighting them in survival because I'll probably get pwned without like getting a full inventory setup and all that other stuff. So let's go in here. Let's put these guys away. So now this is actually not a boss. Oh, actually this one is the boss. This is the one I was thinking about. So this will actually show it to you. So right up there we have the Eye of Cthulhu. He's really strong and he's massive and he flies around really fast. But since we're in creative and we have a really OP armor and sword, we can take care of him pretty easily. And you'll notice he spawns a bunch of these little demon eyes, which is what I was trying to spawn before when I was saying it's not a boss. But those are like his little minion bosses. So after you kill him, you're gonna have a second version of him. So this one is called, whoa, he's way up in the sky. This one is the other Eye of Cthulhu. And this one's a little bit weaker, so I can get rid of it pretty quick. Has a very cool death animation. Even after he dies, all those eyes are going to be all over the place. The Eye of Cthulhu has been defeated by Smoothscape in the text box. Let me see if he dropped anything on the floor over here. Oh, yeah, here. He dropped some of this stuff over here and some potions. And Demonite ore. So pretty good drops. Alright, I'll show you what the actual Demon Eye looks like. Again, just these little guys over here. They don't have... They don't do too much damage, but again, when you have a whole ton of them, they will basically all gang up on you and mess you up pretty badly. Alright. So now we're going to get to the big guy, the slime crown. So I'm going to go and get down over here. And again, this was crafted using the golden crown from before. So let's just right click the ground over here. The king slime has awoken and he's landed from the sky. And let's see, maybe I will fight this guy in regular survival. So let's see. So now he's going to aggro me. You see he has his little crown on. Because, you know, what is a king without his crown? Whoops, let's go over here. Yeah, look how cool his crown looks. It basically has the gold crown on that we were wearing earlier. So let's see if he can jump all the way up here. Can he get me? Oh, he can. Wow. This guy can get up there. And I basically 3-hit him. Alright. Let's get some of these guys out. And he also spawns these little mini blue slimes, which we saw earlier. Alright, let's get all these guys out of the way. Good boy. Bye, creeper. Is that it? All of them? And basically has similar drops. So it does have some more, it definitely could use some more work on this mod because it's so close to being like a perfect version of Terraria within Minecraft, but it just needs some more tweaks. Now this mod was made in 1.6.4 and I'm not sure it's been updated for a while. I know that the actual mod creator deleted the original thread that he had this on the Minecraft forums, and in his newer thread he actually uploaded a older version of the mod. So this is actually the newest version I was able to find. It's 1.3.1. But all in all, it's a mod that I really like a lot, and I think it's something you all should definitely check out. Anyway guys, that's about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, as it does help me out a lot, and subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one in the future. This was Smooth, and I'll see you all later. Take it easy, guys.